Hi guys, welcome back to another Hugh video, and in today's video I'm going to be restoring the strangest iPhone ever made. Apple is known for removing things from their products like the headphone jack or even certain ports on their computers, but on this iPhone Apple removed the most important thing in any mobile phone. That is the SIM card reader. This iPhone shares a similar design to the iPhone 4S with many interchangeable parts, but at its heart is an iPhone 4. This strange one-off iPhone is known as the iPhone 4 CDMA, a US-only model of the iPhone 4. I received this iPhone in a parts lot a little over a year ago, and it's about time I did something with it. It's currently missing its whole display, which appears to have been ripped off. It also has a few missing screws, suggesting someone previously attempted a repair on the device. Upon taking the back cover off of this iPhone, you can already see just how similar it is to the iPhone 4S. Although, as you can see, the dot connector flex cable almost goes halfway up the phone and sort of sits where the SIM card reader would sit on an iPhone 4 or 4S phone. The Wi-Fi antenna bracket as well as the cellular antenna bracket I noticed appeared to be gold plated, and as far as I can remember, I don't recall any other generation of iPhone having gold plated brackets, so that seems to be a one-off with this phone as well. The gold plating is also seen on the camera grounding clip at the top of the phone. With the logic board removed, I can take out the speaker, which is missing a screw, and the vibrate motor, which is identical to one of those in an iPhone 4S. I'll need to remove what remains of the original screen, and given the fact that there is still tape over the screws, I guess that somebody didn't understand how to disassemble this phone to replace the display and instead just tore it off without first disassembling and removing the screws holding it in place. Either way, I'll need to use some cleaning alcohol to clean all the grime off of the front of the phone, as it's been sitting around collecting dust for the past year. I'll also need to remove the adhesive strips, which are no longer sticky in any way. With some new ones, I can install them onto the top and bottom of the phone. To be honest, I'm not sure why Apple chose to put adhesive on the phone, as the screen is held on with a total of 10 screws, so I find the adhesive a little bit overkill, hence why most times when I'm changing the display on an iPhone 4 or 4S, I leave the current adhesive in place, as it's plenty strong enough for the replacement display. Speaking of a replacement display, this right here is one for an iPhone 4 CDMA. The only difference between this and one of an iPhone 4S is an extra little tab that goes where the SIM card reader would go normally on an iPhone 4S. So they're not interchangeable in any model unless you change the display bezel. I did also notice that there was a home button on here, which I installed previously when I tried to put this screen on an iPhone 4S, thinking this was an iPhone 4S screen. Obviously, it didn't fit properly, and I realized that this screen was supposed to go on this CDMA iPhone 4. Tightening up these screws, I can install the vibrate motor back into the phone and the bottom speaker and reinstall its one screw. I'll worry about finding some more screws for that later on, but now I'm just going to install the logic board, being extra careful not to snag the backlight cable, which is easily done on the iPhone 4 and 4S models. I can then start to reinstall these screws and the little grounding clip for the camera, and then I can move along to installing the Wi-Fi antenna bracket and cellular antenna bracket, which, like I said before, I believe are gold plated. I can reconnect the dock connector and a few of these cables which go to various buttons and components on the phone. I can reinstall the camera and connect down the connections for the replacement display and reinstall the bracket up the top. The battery goes in next, and then it's time to find some replacement screws that were previously missing on this phone. Luckily, I have a whole heap of screws laying around in my parts bin, which I was able to find some that fit inside the phone. I can install the two pentalobe screws on the bottom of the phone, and that's pretty much it. Pressing and holding the power button, the phone obviously had no signs of life, as it hadn't been charged in over a year. Plugging it in, you can see that it booted up for a few seconds but went flat again. After letting it charge, the phone successfully powered on to the lock screen, and sliding to unlock the phone, I can navigate into settings, general, and about, so we can take a look at the specs of the phone. You can see here that it is an 8GB unit on iOS 7.1 and is locked to Verizon in the US. I can remove the plastic film from the new display, and this completes the restoration. So this is it, an iPhone 4 CDMA, which I would class as one of the strangest Apple products ever made. This iPhone looks like an iPhone 4S, but only has the hardware of an iPhone 4. I believe this iPhone paved the way for the iPhone 4S internal design, as it shares many of the similarities to the 4S and has an almost identical logic board and smaller components like the vibrate motor. It is strange that Apple decided on this iPhone, and I'm not quite sure why that was. However, I'm unable to use this iPhone in my country, obviously to the fact that I can't install a SIM card from any Australian carrier. And that means as long as I own this iPhone in my country, it will forever be on searching and no service. Although a bit of a shame, I did want to fix this as it was in my repair pile, but I always kind of wanted to own a CDMA iPhone 4 as it was one of Apple's weirdest decisions in the recent years. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffries video. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button and consider checking out the phone restoration playlist for more videos just like this one. Also, make sure to follow me on my social media, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.